Alrighty, everyone. My name is Paul Allen, and you are listening to Paul Allen's Disasterpiece. I am joined by none other than Tongue Tied Games. Tongue
That's
Tied,
me.
how are you doing tonight?
I'm amazing. Never had a bad day in my life. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. It was bound to happen, considering that we both, in a way, play the same character. um,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
of course, Jay Sullivan, the harvester in the first harvest. Um, Phenomenal job on the phone call scenes, and I can't wait to see what we cook up in the sequel, which I'm currently writing as we speak. But for those who are unaware of your work, your YouTube channel, kind of give everybody just an overview of you as a creator.
Oh yeah. Um, which is kind of hard to do, but also very easy. Because I started the channel a few years back, and originally I had no commentary. It was just that was the idea behind the channel was no commentary, just
Mm,
gameplay. Give everybody just what they want to see, right? And that was the idea behind tongue tied. I was tongue tied. There was no commentary.
mhm,
um and then while playing games, I put a poll out there. I was like, would you like me to do a live stream of something? And the very first live stream that I ever did, I that was the first time I did commentary. And it received a lot of praise, and it kind of like helped me kind of like embrace that side of creating the YouTube content, was adding the commentary. Because growing
mhm,
up, and even now growing up, I it's massive stage fright. um Even now, like if I'm starting up if I start up a live stream today, or even doing this interaction with you, I'm incredibly nervous. I feel it in my
mhm.
stomach, like I can feel it in my chest. But it's something I've battled through my entire life. So it's you know it, it's just one of those things. But yeah, it's been an awesome journey. I've been enjoying it, and I have an awesome community of people, and amazing followers who support me 100%. And it's an awesome journey. I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't go back on it ever.
Absolutely. So through through doing the reaction videos, the gameplay commentary, you have had some opportunities that have come up to actually do voice work for games, for mobile games. And I have been quite vocal, especially over the last year, about how much I'm enjoying the reality games, how much I'm enjoying some of the other ones like Duskwood. But like we were kind of talking a little bit before we actually started recording about like how you were just doing commentary for The Sign, which is an absolutely brilliant game by Reality Games. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed that one. And then that kind of brought you to the healing. So I know you already told me the story, but for the viewers, if you could kind of like tell them about like how all of that came about, how you got involved in the healing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, The Sign wasn't the first game that I played for Reality Games, but it was the
Hmm.
first game that I commentated on.
Hmm.
And it was wild because just playing through it. And like you said, it was such an awesome game. I thoroughly enjoyed The Sign for what it
Hmm.
was. And so I had no problem just playing through it and waiting those months of the next episode to come out. And in the end, after my playthrough was completely done, and the playlist was over, and we completed the game, it was like a couple days later, Tim from Reality Games had reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be like, do like a small little cameo in the next game, which was the healing. And
Hmm.
admittedly, I was super suspicious about it. I was very, I was like, this isn't real. Like, this isn't the, you never know what kind of scam somebody is trying to run. And, and so I was sus on Tim in the beginning, but then he kind of did a couple things to kind of prove to me that he was who he said he was from Reality Games. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's awesome. Just made a jerk out of myself to one of the one of the authors of the game. But I wouldn't I wouldn't be me if I wasn't sus on him.
Right.
Um, and so then that small potential cameo for the healing ended up turning into a major role, which was J.K. Knight and Charlie, and
Yeah.
I still do some voice lines and stuff. I still do some voice work for Charlie. Whether it's through Instagram or maybe Charlie makes a cameo in Orphans a few
Uh-huh.
times. Um, and so I still do voice work for Charlie and J.K. And that was just a huge role for it. And from what I understand, from what I heard, was that the Charlie wasn't really received well in the German, I guess, version of the game.
Mhm.
But when the English version of the game came out, like supposedly the like Charlie, like the popularity for Charlie like just skyrocketed and took
Oh
off,
yeah.
which made me feel so good just hearing that.
Right.
I was like, man, that feels awesome. Like because that was a huge fear of mine doing these voiceover lines and being like hated for it, like being told to
Mhm.
like you suck, like you're terrible. Like that was always in the back of my head when I was doing it. But I've also received nothing but praise for the lines and just the voice that I use for him and just how I carried Charlie and JK. And so
Mhm.
it was kind of I feel like it was kind of by luck. Tim just happened to come across my channel that was covering his game and then reached out to me, and then it just turned into Charlie. And then from Charlie and the healing ended up turning into me doing some dubbed voiceover lines for Leon in Orphans. And
Mhm.
I'm currently doing voice lines as Argus in Argus. So I'm the voice of the English Argus.
Mhm. And Argus, man, like that the first episode just came out in the United States and holy shit, it's so good. Like to me it's just fascinating how they took this concept of, like a text like choose your own adventure style texting game, and then they just made it. I could never have done that. I do not. I mean, I'm creative, but I don't have that kind of creativity. So whenever you started initially in the healing as Charlie J.K. Knight, like from there, have they just been kind of continuously reaching out to you, like, "Hey, we need you for this"?
Yeah, I just been in communication with them.
Mhm.
They'll shoot me a DM in on I think we primarily talk through Instagram.
Mhm.
And they'll reach out to me and say, "Hey, we have a project, or we'd like to, not telling me what to do, obviously, but like they're like, hey, would you be willing to do this, or would you be up for voicing, Argus, or would you be up for
Mhm.
doing the English dub of Leon?" And I'm just like, absolutely, like, I'm always up for everything. And I actually reached out to them. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I there's an idea that I have for Argus that
Mhm.
I'm planning on doing. I don't want to reveal too much of it, but I'm trying to understand kind of like what Argus looks like because nobody really knows. We know it's like
Mhm.
a monster with a bunch of eyes. We know that it kind of targets the eyes and leaves X's. Don't know where they
Mhm.
got that from, but it does leave X's on the burned X's on their eyes. So I have a somewhat of a little idea of what Argus is, and I have some plans. I have some cool like video like recording plans and stuff, and of
Mhm.
course I did my own little cameo recording of myself of tongue tied. Uh, you know my own witness account of Argus that has already released in the German version, but not released in the English version. I don't think it releases until maybe episode 3 or 4 or something like that.
Mhm. Man, I can't wait to see what y'all are cooking with Argus. I mean, like I said, episode 1 is just so fun, and the ending of it, I mean, it's reality games. You know that they're going to do something at the end of each episode that's like a holy shit cliffhanger. I didn't quite expect it. There's actually a couple times prior to that ending that I was like, okay, this is probably going to be the ending. No. um, so kind of backtracking though to Orphans, because as I said before we started recording, I have not made it all the way through Orphans yet. So you do the overdub lines
Yes.
for
Yep.
Leon.
For Leon.
So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what is the Leon character in Orphans?
He I guess you could consider him, he's like the comparable of the Cedric of the Sign, or even
Mhm.
so in Argus, the Danu of Argus.
Yeah.
So he's the rough around the edges, but has a
Mhm.
good heart, and you know, in the beginning probably not as likable, but towards the end is like, you know, your best friend.
Mhm. You gotta love characters like that, and I mean, even Dano is kind of starting to warm up to me a little bit, or the other way around. But um, yeah, so we initially became connected after the healing. Whenever I, if my memory serves correct, and you might remember this a little bit more, I think it was your video where you were doing the ending of the healing, and it was showing the credits. And I think I commented on that video something to the effect of, "Holy shit, I had no idea that was you. I need some voiceover work for my movie."
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, that's roughly how it played out, paraphrasing, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but have you, either prior or since, have you ever like have you been able to do other movie roles as well?
No, the first harvest was my first ever, you know, full length, feature length
Mhm.
movie in general. First ever, you know, feature I've ever been a part of, which, you know, will always have a special place in my heart. And um I'm super happy about it. I'm very, very like stoked that I was able to be a part of it. It was just you know, I it's easy for me to say now, but it's a dream come true. Like I never thought in my entire life that I would be voicing in games. I would have a voice role in an actual movie. Like I never thought that anything like that would
Mhm.
ever happen. So knowing that that's happened and knowing that I've been a part of it is just it's wild. It's wild to think about, and I'm super happy that I've been able to be a part of it.
Mhm. I gotta say too, the phone call scenes, especially the last one, which ironically was the first one you recorded. um,
Yeah.
but the last one where the Emily character receives that mysterious phone call in the end, that is still like I've been able to interact with fans at conventions and just kind of out in the street. That is one of the top scenes that's always mentioned. Is like you know it's just that uncertainty of like who's calling Emily, and then it's also the aspect of how well that you did those lines. Like it's creepy. It creeps me out, and that's
I
my thing. I like creepy shit.
I literally just I'm not even like joking about this. It was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I was going through the movie again, and I came up across that scene, and I was listening to it. I was like, man, that sound that works so well. It was
Mhm,
just it was perfect. And it's very, very creepy, and you know, it's crazy because like, you know, I'll watch it as not tongue tied, like I watch it as me IRL, and then I like
mhm.
show somebody it, but they don't even know. They can't hear my voice in it. They don't know that it's me, and I can't even tell them
Mhm.
that it's me because nobody knows this is me. Like,
Right.
but it's interesting. It's cool. So I like they show them, and they and kind of like what you said, they the same thing. They're just like, man, that is creepy. Like they'll be sitting there and they listen to it, and like you can see the goosebumps on their arms just like
Mhm.
starting to form, and they're just like, that's creepy. And it's
Oh
such a
yeah.
like, and it's not like a jump scare scene. It's not like
Mhm.
there's anything paranormal happening. It's just two people talking, and how creepy that turned out, and the way it makes an individual feel is it was pretty special.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's like I said, you did those lines so fucking well, and that really makes the scene. So whenever you are doing, whether it's for the first harvest or for Argus or any voice role that you have to play, either like a killer or monster of some kind, like what is your preparation for that? Like how do you prepare your voice? Like, how much of that I don't know if this is gonna sound stupid or not, but like how much of that is just raw, like just raw you, and then like what do you do as well with it in post?
Yeah, so I'd say that the JK Knight and Charlie is very raw.
Hmm.
That is me. I don't do any changing to it at all. Um the um the scene in The Harvester where I did the deep raspy voice, I probably redid that scene. I redid those lines probably 50 times trying to find trying to find the right voice for myself, as well as
Hmm.
like I did some minor some I mean and you can hear it in the scene. You could hear like some minor tweaking of just like the way the audio is to help it kind of sound like it's a um kind of I guess monstery, you know.
Hmm.
But most of it was me, but I did some minor tweaking of just like maybe the I don't even know what it's called, like the echoing or the ambiance, I guess you can
Hmm.
say, to make it sound kind of dark and scary. But like the deepness of the voice, the raspiness of the voice, like I worked on multiple different ways of doing it, and I just kept listening to it over and over and over. And I'd have like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 or 5, like, different lines, and I'd listen to them, like, back to back and say, "Okay, this one's better, like, I like how this one sounded, so let's work on this one, let's try to make this one better," and then I would change my own inflection up and down to and then it was a process. It was a process for me to find, like, the perfect balance of my voice and the minor tweaking to really kind of, like, capture that creepiness.
Hmm.
But as far
So.
as, like, preparing for it, like, I do mentally get into the in the mood, like, so
Hmm.
even when I did the lines for the first harvest, like, I had all the lights down, like, I had them all off, so, uh, this is what it looks like, you know, like, I don't have windows, so when
Hmm.
I when I turn the lights off, that's what I'm sitting in. I'm sitting in the dark, I get mentally prepared, I'm just like, how would a I guess in the first harvest, how would a serial killer like try to do this? Like, what would they do? Like, how would they, the different inflections on different words? Like, how can I push that to make it the creepiest possible? And like I
Hmm.
said, I had to mentally get into it, and then like I had to put it out there, and then like I said, probably retook the take like 50 times just to find the right way of saying it and doing it. And as far as Charlie, it's just I've gotten to the point where I can just do Charlie, but in the beginning, I do the same thing. I turn the lights off. I just I really think about it, and I really kind of like get into the mindset of like some psychotic, like just out of the hospital loony bin,
Hmm.
and then really try to bring that out.
Yeah, that's pretty much the exact process that I take as well, especially with, portraying the harvester. Um, as an actor, whenever you either, in my case, I wrote the role, um, but whether you write it or whether you are given the role, um, there's a lot that you have to consider whenever it's a serial killer role. So, like for me, I would rehearse in my room, which I my room also doesn't have windows, ironically. I'd turn out all the lights. I'd shut my door. I would just like do whatever I could to get into that headspace. And like probably the only step I took that was different was studying like actual serial killers, like their mannerisms and like things that they may say or do. And I tried to combine a few different things with the harvester, which is ironic that we call the harvester a serial killer, which that's exactly what he is. even though we don't really see a lot of the serial killing on screen. Um,
Mhm.
which
Right, right.
I was kind of reflecting on that the other day. I was like, you know, for a killer, he didn't kill that much. But yeah, I like that we were kind of on the same wavelength with that. Um, and again, like another phone call scene, the one with Aaron.
Yeah.
That scene, to me, that's almost the creepiest scene in the movie because like you sound, and I believe that the only tip I gave you for it was to kind of make it somewhat Charlie like.
Mhm. Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and it's so fucking creepy. So just overall, well done in the first harvest in all the games. Like this is a compliment, but you creep me the fuck out. um,
Awesome. I aim to please.
so I know that like we've got the sequel of the first harvest in the works, and a couple of side projects. But like, do you have any other projects in the works? Whether it's with reality games or perhaps anything that you haven't previously mentioned. Just kind of give us a rundown of what's coming up in the next few months for Tongue Tied Games.
Yeah, so I am currently voice acting as Argus for Argus Urban
Mhm.
Legend, which is the reality game that's currently being played. I haven't completed episode 1 myself yet. I try to space out those episodes for myself just cuz I know that my fan base, the ones that watch the videos tend to they tend to watch my videos to keep them well informed for like when episode 2 comes out. That way they don't have to
Yeah.
replay episode 1 multiple times. And most of my followers, they'll watch my videos after they complete episode 1 of their own. They'll
Hmm.
complete it on their own, then they go back and let's see what tongue tied did,
Hmm.
Um and so I'm currently working on that. That'll be, that's a project that'll be going on for, a few months now. I've done some side projects with game testing. Um, through I do some freelancing through Fiverr,
Hmm.
which is a freelancing website that I've had some small game developers reach out to me and um, help with game testing, seeing how things run and or even just like I guess uh, promoting their game on my channel, playing it and then put it out there, for others to download and play it themselves. So that's always fun to do. Um, I'm currently talking with which is kind of cool for me. I'm currently talking about collaborating with Raid Shadow Legends. I'm not
Oh,
trying to
sweet.
like, I'm not trying to plug Raid in or anything like that, but
Hmm.
I'm currently in the works with collaborating with them. So that'll probably be happening here soon where I can start putting out some cool like little videos and stuff of that and like,
Hmm.
download links, that people can download the game from my link and as a way to kind of like help support me and also play a game that seems really really cool. I've played it a little bit myself and I do really enjoy it, but again, not trying to plug them in or anything. Um,
We are not sponsored by Raid Shadow
no,
Legends
not
yet.
at all, not at all, not yet. Um, but that's hopefully that's going to be here completed here soon to be able to collaborate with them. Um, yeah, other than just, like the typical gaming videos, live streams, I don't really have much going forward as far as projects and stuff.
Hmm. So theoretically speaking, if somebody listens to this and they're like, "We need tongue tied in our project," how do people reach out to you to book you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me and I'm on all the major social medias, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, you search tongue tied games and you'll find me on those major social media platforms. You can also if you're looking to send me an email, you can email me at tonguetiedgames@gmail.com. Kind of, and that's how you reached out to me was
Yep.
was emailing me through that. And I have that that email linked to like my YouTube channel, like for those who would like to reach out to me for business inquiries and stuff.
Mhm. All right. Well, Tongue tied. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight to chat with me a little bit. Is there anything else that you want to shout out, or anyone else that you would want to shout out before we hop off?
Yeah, so I would just say that if anyone is really enjoying the reality uh, games, and they're enjoying Argus or The Sign or the Healing, there are some amazing actresses and actors that are very, very, you know, small channels like myself,
Hmm.
who could absolutely 100% use the support. So, um, reach out to those small actors and actresses. Reach out to those YouTubers. Um, the individual that plays Cedric, his name is well, he goes by Theophocles on Twitch, and I think he's actively currently playing as we talk right now.
Hmm.
But he the voice actor for Cedric, he's a Twitch streamer, and you know, and I'm sure he would love to see the support. There's a there's a bunch of new actresses and actors on those reality games. Most of the time, they all have their Instagrams linked into the game. So
Hmm.
definitely reach out to them. I'm sure they would love to hear from fans and stuff, and be told like how well they did. I know how special that was for me, and still is special for me to have fans and followers reach out to me and to send me a DM talking about how much they enjoyed my Charlie and how much they loved my voice lines in the first harvest, and it never gets old. Trust me, it never gets old, for at least for people like me, and I'm sure Theophocles feels the same way, and a lot of the other the small channels, they would feel that same way. It never gets old being told that you enjoy their content, and you enjoy what they're doing. So, if you know of small channels, definitely reach out and let them know like you enjoy them, and that you're happy with that they're doing, because that sense of encouragement will keep them going.
Absolutely. And speaking of those, there's actually, I believe that she follows both of us. Um, Instagram handle, I believe, is Elevated Wanderer,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she's
Steph. So
actually
that's
in
that's
one or
Ina.
two of the games.
She was in Orphans. She
Hmm.
played Ina in Orphans, who was captured by the cult, and well, she was like drugged in Orphans and then thrown into a jail cell. But yeah, she was in
Hmm.
Orphans, and yeah, she's in Argus as well. She plays Caro. So
Hmm.
it's Caro. She plays Caro in Orphan, or sorry, Argus.
Hmm.
Ina in Orphans, Caro in Argus. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny too because like I was just, it's like I said, I haven't played all through Orphans yet. I'm working my way through it kind of slowly. But whenever I was playing through Argus and I like saw that character profile, I'm like, wait a minute, I've seen that face before.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I love what you said. Like, just go and support, the small channels and small creators because that's how we all make it to the next level. And
Absolutely.
that's my goal is to, whether it's film or music or the podcast that I do, just to give that platform where everybody gets a little boost and a little bit more
Yeah.
recognition. And so I love that for sure. But
Yeah, and
again,
Elevated Wonder, she would love to hear from you guys.
yeah.
Like I said, she's been in a couple of the reality games, and there is actually one new individual that that if your viewers are playing Argus, have probably already seen. Um, this individual goes by the handle Miss Azriel.
Yeah.
So I just call her Ash. I've played with her on my channel. I've done live streams with her all the time, so I
Mhm.
call her Az. But she goes by Miss Azriel. She's got like a YouTube channel. She's on Instagram, so definitely
Mhm.
check her out. And I can, and I'm not saying this just because I'm friends with her, but she did a video as like an eyewitness of Argus and
Mhm.
for the game, and I personally I thought she was amazing at it. I thought it
Yes.
came off very natural. It came off very organic. It didn't come off
Mhm.
as if like it didn't feel like she was just like reading from a script. You could see and feel like a sense of emotion and
Yeah.
energy from it, and it turned out really good. I will say I'm super sus of her as in the game. I can't tell if she's gonna be evil or nice. I don't know, but look, I've already told her. I've already told I'm super sus of her.
Yep.
But that's hard for me to say since how I literally the voice of Argus, the most sus character of the game. So, but definitely like those small channels, 100% reach out to them and tell them about how much you like them and how much you enjoy their content because that honestly means the world to us. And
Yes.
so reach out to your small channel.
Absolutely. And on YouTube, Tongue Tied Games, Alan and Mikac Network, subscribe to us and the other ones that we've talked about. And it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you tonight. And everyone, we will see you for episode 2.